In this tutorial, I'll be going over how you can set up my AlcohoLix's mixes, drink mixing, and effect system for your own VRChat world. If you don't know what the system is, it's a system I made for VRChat worlds, which adds mixable and pourable liquids with different kinds of effects on them. So your players can pour and mix different kinds of liquids together and drink them to get all kinds of fun effects to them. So this is pretty much kind of like a more advanced version of those drink effects systems you might have seen other bar worlds on VRChat. The system is currently available on Gumroad, so you can check the link in the description for where you can actually get the system for yourself. So once you've actually bought the system, you need to download the AlcohoLix's Mixes Unity package. Once you've downloaded the Unity package, make sure to open up your own VRChat world. All you need to do is import the Unity package that you downloaded. Once it is imported, you should have this AlcohoLix's folder on your assets. Click on that, and then click on this liquid system folder. And this is where all the different system things are. You might want to open up this simple setup PDF right here, because this is kind of what we're going to be going over in this video, but it's good to have it, open for yourself as well. Once you actually start setting up the system for your own world, you want to go into the Prefabs folder over here. So we are in AlcohoLix's liquid system, Prefabs. And this is where all the prefabs that I've already set up are. And the most important one, which you need to import to your scene first, is this player head. So all you need to do is select that and drag it to your hierarchy. This is what acts kind of like your player's mouth. So this is what detects when your player is actually drinking liquids. And this is also what makes the different vision effects happen to the player itself. After this, you can select which of these different prefabs you want to use. So if you're making like a club or bar world, you probably want to have the alcohol bottles, probably want to have these glasses and a spoon and a straw that can be used to mix liquids, and a shaker. Oh, and the bar tabs. Let's have these as well. There we go. So this is like a good mix of different kinds of items. If there's like certain things that you don't want to actually use in these prefabs, for example, maybe you don't want to use all these different kinds of glasses, you can just select the ones that you don't want and you can delete them. My recommendation for how many different liquids or, things you should have in your world is to have around 20 to 30, different bottles, glasses, things. That's just for optimization's sake. If you have too many of them, it's going to overload your world. Now, next up, one thing you need to do is you need to actually set up post-processing in your world. If you don't have post-processing set up already, what you need to do is you need to click on your main camera. You need to change the layer on the top right here to water. Then you need to add a new component, which should be a post-process layer. And make sure the layer on that is also set to water. And make sure that the trigger is set to this camera. Next up, this is probably the most involved thing that you need to do. If you are using straws, you need to do this. If you're not using straws, you can skip this part. But if you're using straws, we need to find our mouth receiver. So our mouth receiver is under our player head, drink receiver, mouth receiver, trigger script. So we have this one right here. Note where this is. After that, you need to select your straw and you need to find the sticky straw pickup script. On the mouth zone right here, you need to add our mouth receiver trigger. So drag this so that it's right here. Then on this, the liquid straw script, we need to drag the mouth receiver trigger to this drink receiver part, and we need to drag the straw itself to this straw tip collider. And if you want, you can also add a custom suck sound, like a sound effect clip, so that players can know if you're actually using the straw to drink, but I have not included one of those in my system. Now, lastly, we have this ownership bridge script. What we need to do here is we have this synced children section. And in the synced children, we need to define the different liquids where the liquid level of the liquid can decrease when you use the straw to drink it. In the simplest terms, it means we need to attach these glasses to be in the synced children. And specifically, we need to attach certain parts of these glasses. And those are these different game objects that are inside of these glasses. So what you need to do is you need to disable your alcohol bottles, your juice cartons, your bar tabs, your spoon. You can disable all of these, but make sure to leave your shakers and your glasses open. Then what you need to do is you need to select the straw and click on this little lock icon at the top right. And what that'll do is the inspector is now locked, meaning even if you click on other things in your hierarchy, your inspector will stay on this straw view. And then above your hierarchy right here, you can search for liquid. And that'll open up all these different liquids that I just mentioned that are inside those classes. And in here, all you need to do is you just need to select all of these liquids. And then you can just drag these into your synced children. So for me, there's 7 of them, but for you, there might be even more or less of them. Then you can click on X on this hierarchy search, and you can unclick the lock icon at the top right. And lastly, you can obviously turn on the different game objects that we just turned off. Now, the last thing we need to do is we need to set our teleport points for our teleport effects. So if you're using the alcohol bottles, there is one effect that actually has teleporting tied to it, meaning when that effect happens, at the end of the effect, the player will teleport to a certain location. And if you're using the potion bottles, there is an actual teleporting effect that teleports you all around the instance. So there's multiple different teleport points. So what we need to do to actually set those teleport points to where you want them to be in your world, we need to go into this finished effects part, and then we need to find teleport effect and teleport effect for blackout. If you're only using these alcohol bottles like I am, all you need to do is expand this teleport effect for blackout and find the teleport spot. And this is right now where the player would end up if they were using that blackout effect. So what you want to do is you can just, decide where in your world that you want that player to actually end up, and you can move this point to wherever it is that you want them to actually end up. So I want my player to end up right there. Now, when the effect happens, my player will teleport, from where they were in the world to right there. You can do the same for these teleport spots if you're using the potion bottles. And in case you don't want this teleport effect at all you need to do is delete these. So you can just, select these and delete. And now you don't have any teleport effect. It's that easy. But yeah, with that, everything should now be completely set up. So what you need to do is just go into play mode and test that stuff is actually working. You will get one error, which is this one right here. It's about 2 audio listeners, but you don't need to worry about it because it won't actually affect your world in any way. So the first thing I would test is that your straw is working. So we can click on it and it should attach to your player's mouth. And if we click F, we can also drop it. Yes. Then you might want to pick up a glass and maybe pick up some alcohol bottle, pour alcohol into a glass. Yeah, that's working fine. And then you can use the straw to, drink the liquids. You can also check that the spoon is working by just using that to mix the liquids together. And the straw will also mix liquids together, but that's harder to test on PC because, it's obviously attached to your mouth. And then lastly, there's the shaker, which you can open up by, clicking on it. And then you can pour some liquids into it. Then I can select this and yay, it's working. Okay. Everything should be working properly. Of course, there's also the effects, which you might also want to check if they are working. For those, I would recommend going into your alcohol bottles and, testing them out on, for example, the vodka. So what you can do is you can click on the liquid, and then there's this liquid fill, and there's effect chances and effect IDs. So you can see for this liquid, so for the vodka, it has this complete blackout and blackout effects. And the effect chances are there's a 25% chance of the complete blackout happening, and there is a 30% chance of the blackout happening. What you can do while you're testing things is you can make the effect chances be 1 for, let's say, the complete blackout. So once we've changed the effect chance here to be 1, what you want to do is you actually want to build a test version of your world, because for some reason sometimes the effects don't work reliably in the Unity play mode, but they do work when you actually build the world. So one thing you need to check first is you need to open up your player head, drink receiver, and vision effect manager. Since we are now testing this on PC, so I'll be building this on PC, I'm gonna turn on this PC vision plane, turn off this quest vision plane, and I'll make sure that my vision effect manager is set to force PC. And then you can just build and test. And here we are. And now what you want to do is you can just pick up this vodka right here, and you can use the JKLI keys to bring it to your player's mouth, which should be right around here. And if you want to, you can obviously also try if the other liquids effects are working. Just be aware that obviously the effect chances, like I showed with the vodka, the effect chances are not always set to 1. If they're not set to 1, it means that, there is less than 100% chance of that effect happening, which means that even if you drink one liquid that has an effect, it doesn't always mean that you will get an effect from that liquid. Obviously, if you want in your world to always have these effects happen, then all you need to do is you can search in the hierarchy for liquid, and you can select all of these liquids right here. And in the inspector, you can go into effect chances, which is right here, and you can just set this first one right here to be 1. If you do that, it just means that now the effects that you have, the first one here, so for this liquid right here, the vignette effect will for sure happen. And the second effect that we have still has a chance of happening, but you don't want all the effects to happen at the same time. So just make sure that one of them is always happening and one of them has lower chances of happening. Now, one last thing I do want to mention before we wrap things up is this optimization setting that we have on a liquid fill script, which is attached to all the different liquid game objects that are inside these bottles and glasses. What this optimization setting is, it is what tells this liquid fill script when it needs to update our shader. And as you can see, for this bottle, it's set to 1000, meaning every 1000 frames, this liquid fill script will tell the bottle that it needs to update. And then for my glasses, for example, here, these ones, it's set to 1. So every frame, this script is telling the shader that it needs to update. Now, depending on how intense your world is, if you want the system to be more optimized, you can change this setting to be 2 on all of these glasses. Because right now it's set to 1 on all of them, which means that if you pour liquids into them, it'll look really smooth and, it'll look nice. But if you set it to 2, it'll look a little more choppy when you pour liquids in and out, but it'll be more optimized, especially for Quest, because they are not constantly sending messages to their shader telling it to update. But if your world is well optimized, you can just keep this at 1. And for the bottles and for, these bar tabs and these ones, you can just keep at 1000, or you can even set it to 10,000 or 100,000. But this is only a setting that you need to change on things where you can pour liquids out of them. So for example, classes where you can actually see the liquid level decrease and increase. Once again, if you want to change all of these liquids at the same time, all you need to do is turn off all the other things except for your glasses and the shaker as well, I would say. And then once again, just search for liquid and select all of these which are already active. And then in the update interval frames, you just change this so that it's a 2 or 3 or a 4. And lastly, I just want to remind you that when you are uploading your world on PC and on Quest, you always need to make sure that you make the change in your Vision Effect Manager. So in your Vision Effect Manager, when you're uploading on PC, you make sure that the debug mode is on Force PC and your PC vision plane is on and Quest vision plane is off. And if you're uploading on Quest, you make sure that the Force Quest is on and your PC vision plane is off and your Quest vision plane is on. If you want to make things easy for yourself, you can just use the Quest vision plane for PC as well, but it'll look more flat and kind of worse in many ways. That's why I recommend using the PC vision plane. But yeah, with that being said, you should now have your very own drink mixing system set up in your world. I hope things work smoothly for you. If you need any help, you can join my Discord server or message me on Discord and I'd be happy to help. I can even get in a call with you and help you set things up if you have any problems. But hopefully you were able to set things up with this, and if you had any problems or questions, you can also check my other documentation, like I said. There's the simple setup which we just went over. There's the system reference guide and the in-depth setup guide for customizing things further. And I would hugely appreciate it if you would credit me for the system, maybe by just having this little icon in your world somewhere near it. It's not a huge thing, you don't have to do it, but it's of course appreciated. And obviously, if you do make a world and it includes my system, I would love to visit it myself. I'll leave you with that. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I hope your VRChat world will turn out amazing.